Hello, dear friends. It's Dr. Sarah. Thank you for joining me today. In this series, we've been exploring the importance of a healthy digestive system and how essential oils support optimal digestion. In this video post, what I want to do is explore the final topic in the series, which is a review of some of my favorite essential oils for gut health. What we're going to cover is a quick overview of the importance of optimal digestion, how essential oils aid digestive wellness, my top 5 single oils for gut health. These include peppermint, ginger, fennel, frankincense, and myrrh, and some specialty blends for you if you're interested in the synergy of essential oils. I will also go through some quick application and safety tips of essential oils so that you get the optimal results with your essential oils. As always, all of the links to the research studies will be in the accompanying post to this video, and there will also be an additional resource section at the end of the post. So, with that being said, let's get started. First of all, let's talk about the importance of optimal digestion. Now, of course, more details can be found in the previous videos, which will be linked in the resource section if you want more of this information. But in summary, our intestinal tracts and the bugs that reside in them have many vital functions that impact our overall wellness. And this is besides the gastrointestinal tract's role in assimilation, absorption, and elimination. It actually influences all other organ systems and affects our physiology and our psychology. The little gut bugs that are in a population of trillions that reside inside and on our bodies actually are known as the gut microbiome when we're talking about them in the belly. And these belly bugs are what produce the metabolites and neurochemicals that help to regulate our metabolic processes. They have an established bidirectional communication system with our brain and nervous system. This is termed the gut-brain axis, and the communication occurs through the vagus nerve. Now, due to the fact that the gut has such far-reaching impacts, literally, it goes to the brain and affects all other organs, supporting it is critical for any health condition or symptom. And one of my favorite ways to support a healthy gut is, not surprisingly, if you've been following me for a while, my favorite modality, essential oils. So let's look at how essential oils are so vital for a healthy gut, at least in my opinion. Well, essential oils possess a lot of biochemical properties that enhance digestive function. They also help to balance our microbiome, support our emotional health, which is important for that gut stress link. And that being said, they can calm stress in the gut and the brain. Now, additionally, specific essential oils promote the rest and digest process by acting as vagal nerve modulators. You remember I talked about the connection between the gut and the brain is through this vagus nerve. And there's several essential oils that stand out from the research and just from my clinical practice that I use when I'm trying to support someone's rest and digest function or to stimulate the vagus nerve. These include lavender, bergamot, and ylang ylang essential oils. And there's also a blend that I use called parasympathetic blend. Due to all these enticing characteristics of essential oils, they make good companions for people struggling with digestive health. Now that we have this background of why our digestive system is so important for our overall health and how essential oils can support our digestive tract in general, let's look at some of the stars for GI health. Specifically, I want to go through 5 of my top essential oils, the single oils, and then just give you a little introduction on some of the blends of essential oils that I use in my clinical practice. And if you want more information on those, there will be links again in the accompanying post and in the resource section. All right, so when we start off, one of the first essential oils I think of for any gut issue is peppermint essential oil. And this oil is great for people that want to optimize the gut-brain connection. Now, peppermint belongs to the mint or Lamiaceae family. It contains the constituents of carbachol, menthol, carvarone, methyl acetate, limonene, and menthone. And menthanol and menthone are what is often attributed to many of peppermint's characteristic properties, that minty smell and all of the things that go with it. But there's this concept of synergy, which means the sum is greater than its parts. So all of the biochemical constituents that are in essential oil interact with our cellular receptors, causing a wide range of systematic effect. Unlike drugs, which are actually isolated to specifically modulate a biochemical cascade, and then because that cascade affects everything else, it has side effects. Essential oils actually have this synergy where they're balancing all of these different effects all at once. So if we look at an essential oil, it'll have many different properties that it does. It'll have a long laundry list of benefits, and that's why, because it contains so many balancing constituents. So for example, peppermint has properties from its constituents that make it anti-inflammatory, analgesic, or pain relieving, anti-infectious, antimicrobial, and antiseptic, which means it prevents infectious agents, antispasmodic, so it relieves spasms. It's an astringent, which means it constricts mucous membranes. It soothes digestion, helps with stomach issues, and it relieves gas, known as a carminative. It's fungicidal, so it kills fungus. It's a vasoconstrictor at times, so it can help narrow blood vessels, and this can help with circulation. And it also is a decongestant. So many of these actions from its constituents support the use of peppermint for healthy, balanced guts. And it's likely why the research is so positive for peppermint oil for one of the key issues with many people today with gut issues, and that is irritable bowel syndrome. In fact, it has several meta-analyses, which is a collection of different research studies and then compiling them all and summarizing what the research found. It has several of those summaries of research studies that support its efficacy for easing the symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. Now, studies have supported that when we help the gut, we also help the brain, and this is true for peppermint essential oil. We know that people with digestive distress can also have emotional issues. In fact, there's a correlation in many of the studies. And peppermint has been shown to boost memory, attention, exercise, and cognitive performance. So there we have that gut-brain connection. Now, that's peppermint oil. So think about that for gut brain. Think about that for irritable bowel syndrome. Ginger oil is another essential oil that I think of for calming inflammation and decreasing nausea. Ginger oil is a member of the Zingiberaceae family, and that's with its friends cardamom and turmeric. There are over 48 genera and 12,000 species within this highly aromatic family of plants. Now, ginger specifically composes mostly of sesquiterpenes supported by monoterpenes. Some of the main sesquiterpene components are gingerbenin, B-sesquiphenyladienol, and beta-besylenol. And I probably massacred those names. Other minor components are B-philodendron and campheine. Basically, these constituents of ginger oil have been shown to be stomach protective, have antioxidant properties, and modulate inflammation. And remember that word sesquiterpenes, because we'll go back to that in a little bit when I talk about myrrh. But ginger oil is known for its digestive properties. It has microbe inhibiting properties and inflammatory modulating properties. So we talked about previously in other videos, when there's inflammation in the gut, this can lead to intestinal permeability issues. It can cause imbalance of gut microbes, and this can cause a lot of stomach and systemic issues. So the fact that it has those two properties can be very helpful. It also has several human trials, which are specific for helping to relieve nausea. That is not a fun symptom to have. There was a review of 5 trials that actually showed that a combination of peppermint oil with ginger oil was effective for relieving nausea. In a more recent quasi-experimental study, small study with 30 subjects, but it found that ginger essential oil, just inhalation, has implications for alleviating post-operative nausea and vomiting in abdominal surgery patients. So that is good information to have. So we went through peppermint, we went through ginger for nausea and inflammation. Then I think about fennel for soothing digestive issues in general. It's a perennial herb, actually. It can grow 5 to 7 feet in height, and it has several subspecies and varieties, including sweet fennel and bitter fennel. Those are the most common. The essential oils are primarily extracted from the sweet fennel, or Phoenicia vulgare ver dulce, which is a sweet fennel. And its sweet properties tend to be attributed to transanethanol and estradiol. Sweet fennel also contains fenchione, alpha-pinene, limonene, and beta-myrcene. Now, fennel oil, as I said, is known for promoting digestive comfort, but also for respiratory comfort and also soothing spasms. According to the expanded German E Commission by the American Botanical Council, in Germany, fennel seed is licensed as a standard medicinal tea for dyspepsia. And it's also used in cough syrups. It's used for stomach and bowel remedies, and it's used in pediatrics in aqueous infusions. In the United States, it's also used as a galactolog to help with breastfeeding. And in both Germany and the United States, fennel oil is often used as an expectorant for cough remedies and for stomach and bowel remedies. In dosage forms, usually it's diluted in honey or in syrup. Now, the Commission E limits the use of fennel seed and fennel oil to about 2 weeks, then recommends consulting a physician. This is likely related to the concern for the anthanol content causing toxic effects, but it does appear pretty safe in appropriate doses, and most of those studies didn't account for the differences of the metabolism of that compound in the rodent studies versus in humans. In fact, there's been trials with infants with the use of fennel seed emulsion. There was a trial with 125 infants with colic, and they found that the fennel seed emulsion is superior to placebo in decreasing intensity of infantile colic. So fennel is really good as a digestive aid, and it can also help calm spasms when I think about fennel essential oil. The next two oils, kind of, it's hard to disentangle those two because they come in pairs and they're the dynamic duo. And this is frankincense and myrrh. And they've actually been shown in studies to help with irritable bowels. There was a review of different studies in a traditional Iranian medicine. And what they found is frankincense and myrrh oils were effective in several trials to relieve some of the symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome, just like peppermint. And one study found that myrrh oil was effective in easing symptoms of irritable bowel disease, which is a more severe form of an actual disease process in the colon and sometimes in the small intestine, whether you're talking about Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. The researchers believe that this is due to the fact that myrrh oil actually has immunomodulatory. So whenever we're thinking about modulation, that means it's balancing to the immune system. It also has antioxidant properties, and it can help prevent microbial growth. Because we know that if we have pathogens that override the gut, what happens is you get an imbalance in those gut microbes, and that can cause bad signaling from the gut to the brain to the rest of the body and internally to the gastrointestinal tract. The mechanisms for those people that are geeks that want to know, or for the doctors, are that myrrh oil actually decreased inflammatory mediators such as NF-kappa B and nitric oxide and COX-2. Now, there's more information on these famous essential oils that would make them also a very holistic approach for anyone that has gastrointestinal concerns. So let me just go through some of those properties first. When we think about frankincense, many people have deemed it as the king of essential oils, and this is due to its powerful effects and multifaceted uses. There are various species of frankincense oil, and each shares some similar benefits, but there's also some key distinctions. So I want to go over 4 of the main ones that you will find on the market today that are easily accessible for you. The first 2 kind of are grouped into one category. This is Boswellia sacra and Boswellia catari. Boswellia is the name of the family and then the species name. And then there's chemotypes. That's a whole other train we won't go down right now. But basically, these 2 are high in pinene content. And pinenes are also known as phytonosides, which means they emanate from trees, the volatile substances that emanate from trees. And these compounds provide stress relieving and wellness boosting properties, overall general health, great for people that are stressed and want to lower or balance out their cortisol levels. Boswellia freenata is a popular frankincense oil species. It's higher in terpene content. Generally, terpenes are very high in essential oils in general. They basically are your quote anti compounds, anti-inflammatory, anti-infectious, anti. Um, and their biochemical properties are multidimensional and assist in overall mind-body support. So that's a good generalized one. And then we have Boswellia catari, one of my favorites. So in the one that I use, and according to the distillation process of your manufacturer, you want to ask them if it contains insensinol. And that has some animal studies and some correlational studies to improving mood and neurological support. So I will often use this one for my clients that need additional neurological or brain health support. Now, this can be overwhelming for people sometimes. They're like, all of these compounds, biochemical soup, which do I choose? I always feel that a good frankincense oil that's high in quality is better than no frankincense oil at all. They're all going to have some of these properties. It's just some have more of them based on the percentage of the compounds found within them in that family and that species and chemotype. So you can learn more details if this intrigues you. I did a whole series on Boswellia bewilderment, and there'll be a link in the accompanying article if you want to dive into that. When we think about myrrh oil, we think about it as also a holy anointing oil that's attributed to the gifts of the Magi to the Christ child. And myrrh oil also has evidence for many medicinal properties. It often gets overlooked for frankincense, but it's in the same family. And this is where those sesquiterpenes come in that I talked about a little bit with ginger oil. But myrrh is specifically high in these sesquiterpenes that benefit the brain, the nervous system, cellular health, and immune defense. And for these reasons, I have suggested combining myrrh and frankincense blends for, again, my people with brain health issues, which is most of the population that I see because it's my specialty. And myrrh oil is also great for skincare. So it calms the mind and the body and the brain from the inside outside. So those are the five single oils that I use the most in my practice for digestive health. And we think about peppermint for gut brain. We think about ginger for inflammation and nausea. We think about fennel as an overall digestive support and aid, spasms. We think about myrrh and frankincense oil for in irritable bowels, as well as just for overall combining those effects that they have for overall mind body wellness. When you use these essential oils, it's important to be aware of safety, follow the directions on the bottle, know the quality of the manufacturer, because if you use poor quality oils, and because the fact they're not standardized in the United States, especially, you might get bad results. And I want you to get good results. Some of the bad press essential oils is because people are pulling them off of health food stores that might not know about the quality of the essential oil, and it only contains a tiny amount of the essential oil, and the rest are synthetic fragrances or fillers that do have toxic effects. So know the quality of your essential oil and also know key dilution applications. I have a chart in the accompanying article so that you can get your 2% to your absolute top 5% ratio for people that are using essential oils. Only use essential oils outside of those range if you're really good at schooling yourself in essential oils, you have the support of a physician that uses essential oils or a clinical aromatherapist. That being said, there are three main ways that we can use essential oils for gut health. There's the topical applications directly to the belly. This is where you would use the dilution ratio chart to dilute it in appropriate amounts over the belly with a specific organic carrier oil. You don't want to use synthetics because essential oils drive molecules in, and you don't want to drive in toxic fragrances or toxic petrochemicals that you're applying to your skin into your system with essential oils. That's one of the reasons I believe that people can get rashes from essential oils. Not the essential oil themselves, if they've diluted it, but from the actual carrier oil having toxic compounds. You can also directly inhale the essential oil from the bottle, and this is good even if you're applying it topically too, because that will get the mind-body benefits. And again, remember, we're carrying the essential oils through the nasal cavity. Those biochemical compounds will still get into the system. Then we get into ingestion. This is a whole other can of worms. People say you can or you shouldn't ingest essential oils. I have a really good quality brand that I use. I have some of my clients that use brands from Europe that they use that I found it completely fine and helpful. And I've had them monitor with their primary care doctors, their labs, and it's been completely fine to ingest essential oils safely in a capsule diluted with carrier oil. I don't use any other internal ways because I'm not schooled in that and don't feel comfortable with that. That you would want to consult with a clinical aromatherapist with. But I do use ingestion of essential oils. They're in our food flavorings, and I hate to break it to most people, but when you inhale an essential oil and when you apply it topically, it gets in your system just like as if you ingest it. So I don't understand why people have these divisions of this is safe, this isn't safe. Maybe because people can overdose a little bit on digestive, the ingestion, and they're not diluting them properly. But that's just my take and my experience from 20 plus years of using them in my clinical practice. Okay, off of that boat now. So we have the 5 single essential oils that I love. I have some honorable blends, and these are blends that are pre-diluted for people who are new to essential oils, who want an overall general digestive support. They want to take the benefits of essential oils, such as protecting the intestinal lining, lowering inflammation, balancing histamine response, helping with digestive processes, balancing the stress response, neutralizing toxins, getting rid of pathogens. There are links to several of those blends that I use in the accompanying post. And then I also have one specifically that is made of birch, cardamom, cypress, and one that you can't often find in the main company that I use, which is nargathama oil. And this intestinal integrity blend I found to be very helpful for people that tend to struggle with maybe intestinal permeability. They might be having occasions where they're going out to eat more, or they're trying to find balance with their relationship with food and they know they're eating things that are triggering them and they need to calm down their mind body. I use this intestinal integrity blend. So all that being said, we know that essential oils have many properties that make them formidable champions of digestive health. We know the importance of digestive health for overall function, mind, body, and brain health. And based on their biochemical actions, how they support the microbiome, how they balance emotions and stress, and how they stimulate the nervous system, essential oils are one of my favorite allies in my practice for gut health. When we think of specific essential oils, we think of peppermint for gut-brain imbalances and IBS. We think of ginger oil for nausea and calming inflammation, fennel oil for easing belly discomfort and gas, frankincense and myrrh oil for irritable bowels, and blends for synergistic effects of stubborn gut issues and preserving intestinal integrity. So by addressing symptoms while balancing the underlying physiology, these aromatic allies could be considered and should be considered, in my opinion, in every digestive wellness kit. I hope that this information was helpful for you. And if you have people struggling with digestive disturbances, please do forward this to people. The whole mission here is to help you guys out and to make your lives feel more empowered with health information that nurtures your body, mind, and soul. And please do subscribe to this channel. It helps get the word out there on clinically based safe use of essential oils and how that can be used to enhance our health. And it also can help out other people because they have that information to empower them as well. I will be making some announcements soon on some upcoming programs. So you want to also make sure you subscribe to my channel as well as to my newsletter, which also contains additional information on essential oils and my weekly articles. I will be in touch again real soon. Take gentle care of yourselves.